In 1997, Swatch launched their Body and Soul line of steel skeleton watches, designed as a more refined watch to complement their iconic System 51 line. Unlike the System 51, these watches included a fully stainless steel case. The sealed case comes with a single crown and, like the System 51s, a display caseback. The sealed case does offer basic protection, although it does render any repair virtually impossible. The cost of actually breaking the case open will be prohibitively costly, given the fact that this watch is relatively inexpensive. If you break it, better hope you're still in warranty, otherwise you'll be buying a new one. This watch has a power reserve of an estimated 48 hours and water resistance of 30 meters. I wouldn't go swimming with this one. And before we delve any deeper, I should explain that this is actually a brand new watch. I've never actually worn it, but it is one of my favourite because this isn't the first time I've owned this particular model. This is the YAS100g, called the Body and Soul watch, and it is available in a leather strap. I can take that off now. There we go. I can take that off as well. This watch is comprised of a relatively modest case size of just 37mm. The steel bracelet and case sit neatly on wrist. The watch is comfortable and understated while still catching the eye of those close enough to see it. The thing I love about this is the fact that I can see the movement inside. It's actually an ETA movement, so it's a Swiss-made movement. And like all Swatches, this is a Swiss-made watch, and Swatch is an incredibly significant company in the history of Swiss watchmaking. Most of the other Swiss manufacturers owe a debt of gratitude to Swatch, even though now that they are kind of seen as disposable and sort of very accessible watches. Having such an ephemeral quality could have made these timepieces undesirable, yet the opposite is true. Instead of being timeless, Swatch watches are often anchored to the period in which they are made, which itself offers collectors a different kind of thrill. Now, this particular watch I really enjoyed wearing when I had the first version of it. It got quite a bit of attention. It's only a 37mm case, and yet it is perfectly substantial. There is actually another version of this watch that does have the numeral indicators, but I went for one with completely minimal, completely skeletonized. I do accept it's not the easiest thing to read in terms of the time, and to be honest, it's not the most accurate watch I've ever worn either. But when you put it on in the morning, check the time roughly, and away you go. It does the job, reasonably well. Wow, this is a really pretty movement when I get inside. Now, this is the first video where I've actually got some decent macro shots, and this is a great watch to peer into because it's a really brand new case back, as you can see here. Some of the limitations of a watch like this is it doesn't feature hacking, so I can't set it that accurately anyway, but that really isn't what this watch is about. What this is a more expensive version of the System 51. The System 51 is their most famous automatic line of Swatch watches, and they are extremely collectible, and some of those are really super desirable in terms of the colorways that they have for those watches. But I kind of like the idea of getting a slight upgrade, of getting a stainless steel case, unlike the System 51s, which are plastic. So stainless steel bracelet, stainless steel case. As I said, there is a version of this exact watch with a black leather strap. This watch has a power reserve of between 38 and 40 hours of power reserve, as opposed to the System 51, which is up to 90 hours of power reserve. It has 6 beats per second. The strap is stainless steel, polished stainless steel, which is very smart, very comfortable. And what I liked here is we also have the micro adjustment features, which isn't available with some cheap watches that don't have that, but here I like to see that I've got that on my Swatch, and it is very comfortable. And wow, very shiny under these lights. As you can see here, the lume on this watch is not particularly bright, and the luminescence did leave quite soon after I took this shot, so I wouldn't suggest this is the most legible watch in the dark. And while we're going through the negatives, I did notice this rather random noise on this particular model. Now, it's not particularly annoying, but I would suggest that with a bracelet
at a higher price point, you probably wouldn't get that squeaking noise.
The history of Swatch is such that it is an extremely significant brand in terms of watch collecting, and definitely pride of place in my collection. Even though it is a relatively humble price, I've noticed that over the years, this launch, which was launched in 1997, is still going strong today and is actually retailing for a more expensive price than it was just even just a couple of years ago. So it's nice to see that it has got its mark and it is appreciating slightly, even though obviously a second-hand watch like this is not going to appreciate at all, and that's absolutely not what this watch is about. But certainly, if you're buying yourself a new one, you will be paying a few more extra bucks than you were a couple of years ago.
Thanks for checking out this channel. I'll make some more videos sometime.